Well, I am live. Let's see what happens. I'm going into this completely unplanned because, quite frankly, I do not know what to expect. So, let's see what happens. Oh, wow. All right. I just found a tweet that's going into one of my videos that I'm making from J.K. Rowling, where she seems to have gone back on what people are claiming about her. All right, time to check and see if there's anybody here. Nobody yet. So, the original tweet, let me see if I can pull it up here. J.K. Rowling. The original tweet says if sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. She says she knows and loves trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate speak. It isn't hate to speak the truth. The idea that women like her, who have been empathetic to trans people for decades, feeling the kinship because they're vulnerable in the same way as women, i.e., to male violence, hate trans people because they think sex is real and has lived consequences is nonsense. She says she respects every trans person's right to live and feel any way that feels authentic and comfortable to them. She says she'd merge with them if they were discriminated against on the basis of being trans. At the same time, her life has been shaped by being female. She doesn't believe it's hateful to say so. Well, here's the thing. Trans people are discriminated against just on the basis of being trans. And then somebody replied, there's a list of replies. Somebody replies that she made Jewish people be goblins, and the only East Asian person in the Harry Potter books is named Cho Chang. The Irish one, and then somebody else replies, the Irish one is an explosive expert. So that's fun. And Jorge Vespucci says the pile of crap is still there and has grown. No, the pile of crap has not grown. Yes, it is still there, but it has not grown. It is just different stuff. I am rearranging. I am trying to find a place for everything. But yes, it is still there. With me, it just takes time to find the right place. But thank you for the comment. I do appreciate all the comments. You might see a flash of lightning or something, or hear thunder. It is storming outside. Speaking of thunder, and as you can see right there, I have my phone set up and I'm recording a time lapse. Hopefully, it turns out. I do not know whether it will, but that behind that can on top of the box That is my camera recording a time lapse, so I don't know if it'll work out, but let's hope it does. Dunkin' Donuts is going to be closing 450 stores in the United States. How in the hell do they still have 450 stores open in the US? My question is, how the hell do they still have 450 stores in the US? Huh. All four former officers involved in George Floyd's killing now face charges. Damn. Yasir underscore Lester on Twitter says, "Uh, thank you, white people, for all you've done in amplifying black voices in your protesting. But if you really want to show your support, black people are asking that all our white brothers and sisters take a selfie wearing a fedora this Thursday, 6/4. Damn, I wish I would have kept my fedora. Speaking of which, I saw an old picture of myself with fedora on. How the hell did people let me fucking go out thinking that was a good idea? Seriously, how in the actual hell did people let me go out thinking that was a good idea? I sure as hell don't know. Oh, somebody commented in Arabic. I think that's Arabic. Let's translate it. Ah, yeah, exactly what I thought it was. How in the hell? Did I know? And that is Arabic. Surprised I'm able to actually recognize. Granted, I know there's a lot of stuff that looks similar to people that don't have an untrained eye, which I sure as hell don't. I can recognize English. I can kind of recognize Spanish because I took 4 years of it in school. Plus, I had family that was Spanish speaking. But I do have a question, and it's for the last user, last YouTube user who commented on the stream, if they are still watching. Why did you comment in Arabic and not in English? I know you've commented in English before. You know English. I cannot read Arabic until you ask me in until you ask me in English. I will not answer your question. Yes, I agree with Blackzilla saying that censorship is bad. But if I cannot read your comments or questions, I will not be able to respond to your comments and questions. So he says he's trying to avoid the list of banned words. Well, right now, the only banned words I have are racist and racism. Those are the only two banned words. So go ahead, ask me anything you want, but do not include racist or racism because those comments will not show up. I'm just letting you know. Leave your questions. Find a different way to ask your questions. So let's see what's happening on the Twitter sphere. Newt Gingrich is saying to defund the police. CNBC is stating that between 2013 and 2019, 99% of police killings resulted in no charges, according to Mapping Police Violence. New York Times say demonstrators booed Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey out of a rally on today, after he declined to commit to defunding the police. That is interesting. Going back to my comment about J.K. Rowling's tweets regarding trans people that I mentioned, Megan Tunges, I think is how you pronounce her name. I'm not 100% sure. Says that's not really what she said, though. To act as if she were just making or just remarking on how connected Rowling feels to being female is disingenuous. Rowling, and she says Rowling knows why saying people who menstruate are or should be considered women undermines trans people and non-binary people, which is completely true. Another response to one of J.K. Rowling's tweets. People who menstruate are trans men, guys. This and watching the memory of Tony McDade's story fade. It hurts. Trans people matter. Yes. Do you guys know what 50 Cent did when he got hungry? 58. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, pretty sizable crowd out about 3 hours ago, blocking JFK Boulevard between Love Park and City Hall. Curfew approaches in about 15 minutes for them. Seems unlikely that everybody there will be dispersing. Ah, here we go. Somebody quoted, but their bodies would menstruate if they weren't broken, is what they're supposed to do. End quote. This isn't science, it's religion. There's nothing that bodies are supposed to do. Biology does not have intent. Medicine is about alleviating suffering, not manifesting your fantasy of perfection. Manifesting perfect bodies is the goal of white supremacy. Dysphoria is a form of suffering that medical and social transition are empirically proven to treat via peer reviewed research. Suggesting anything else is pseudoscience. The idea of the perfect body, of the ideal body, or bodies supposed to be a certain way, is inherently anti-science, even when it shows up with scientific institutions and medical practices. There cannot be a perfect body, or there can be a perfect body, or there can be evolution, but not both. Yes, I agree. 4 hours ago, there was a protest on Fourth and Hennepin. I wish I would have. That doesn't look. Oh, the video is part of a different tweet. Yeah, I wish I would have known about that. I would have gone to that rally. I would have gone and supported him. If that would have showed up in my Twitter feed or on Facebook, I would have gone. Assuming the buses were running. Assuming the buses were running, then that would have been easy enough for me to get to. I'm going to be right back. I'll let the music play in the background. Of course, as soon as I say that, it stops. Should be starting up any second now. But I'm going to be using the bathroom. I will be right back. I am back. WebMD notification just popped up in my Twitter feed saying WebMD and the medical team bring you the most trustworthy and timely health news information. Let's see here, CNBC. The U.S. economy added 2.5 million jobs in May, with the unemployment rate falling to 13.3%. Let's check the unemployment rate. The U.S. as of 3 days ago, published 2:08 Eastern Time, June 5th. It says 13.3%. Versus under Obama at this time in 2016 was 4.7%. So about triple today versus what it was 4 years ago. So 13.3 divided by 4.7. 2.8297. So yeah, almost 3 times as much uh, for unemployment rate versus this time 4 years ago. LA Times. Philadelphia editor resigns over Buildings Matter 2 headline. Pandemic makes for a lonely D-Day observance in Normandy. 14 California artists share reactions to the protests over police brutality and justice. I will include the link to that tweet in the video chat. But yeah, But yeah, feel free to check out. Oh, police union chief who excuses white killer cops now says it's trans people's fault that he's not getting a raise. No, it's his own damn fault for being a racist bastard that supports the fucking killer cops. Now, going back to J.K. Rowling, The Advocate has a news article and the news article says the creator of the Harry Potter empire, J.K. Rowling, unleashed a series of transphobic tweets Saturday, even as she claimed to love trans people. Her hateful anti trans rhetoric was met with nearly universal backlash on Twitter. Trans people, allies, and GLAAD roundly castigated her. Rowling's Twitter outburst is just the latest example of her invoking anti-trans language used by exclusionary radical feminist TERFs. Goes into her tweets that I already covered in the beginning of the stream and says the transphobia on display coincides with the start of Pride Month, which was almost a week ago, and nationwide protests against police brutality against the black community that includes marchers seeking justice for the recent killing of Tony McDade, a black trans man, at the hands of police. Rowling followed up her initial tweets by dragging lesbians into her rant. Uh-oh, that's a bad thing. If dragging trans people into this wasn't enough, she dragged lesbians into this too. When she retweeted an article with the headline "Anonymous letter from a terrified lesbian" on the TERF site, The Velvet Chronicle. Quote, I've never felt as shouted down, ignored, and targeted as a lesbian within our supposed GLBT community. As I have over the past couple of years, Rowling quoted from within the article in her tweet, as if she has a right to speak on the behalf of lesbians. The Harry Potter author's history of anti-trans pronouncements on social media went full tilt last December when she tweeted her support of a British woman, Maya Forstater, who was fired for her anti-trans rhetoric on social media. Goes into the quote, or the quoting the tweet. Just over a week ago, Rowling misgendered a trans woman and referred to a TERF in a tweet that she said was accidental. Bullshit. How many times are these tweets going to be accidental? GLAAD responded to Rowling by calling on those furious at her to channel their outrage into supporting causes. GLAAD says if you want to direct your rightful anger over J.K. Rowling's latest anti-trans comments into something positive, support organizations that help black trans people like MPJ Institute, Black Trans USA, Trans Justice FP, and Gender Intel with two L's, and UK Black Pride. J.K. Rowling continues to align herself with an ideology which willfully distorts facts about gender identity and people who are trans. In 2020, there is no excuse for targeting trans people, which I agree. I'm including a link to the advocate's page. Yeah, that BS with J.K. Rowling shouldn't even, again, as with the protests and riots going on about the Black Lives Matter, the protests shouldn't be happening, but they are because of racial inequality. And all of these protests about um, trans people are happening because of people's, I don't know, I guess, people's issue with an example of what people have an issue with would be in J.K. Rowling's recent tweets. Uh, let's see what else J.K. Rowling. Let's see, people who menstruate, specific term there, instead of saying women and trans men and all that. She just says people who menstruate. More stuff about her book. Yeah, it looks like the majority of her stuff as of 12 hours ago was from um stories she's writing. As of recently, I am not finding anything, with the exception of a few other tweets that I've already mentioned. With the exception of those tweets that I already mentioned, I'm only finding stuff regarding the story she's writing. That's it. Yeah. But as I keep saying, oh, wait. J.K. Rowling tweeted, or retweeted somebody's tweet about somebody that wrote a piece for the Daily Mirror, saying people are just so tired of dealing with racism every day. Well, how do you think the fucking trans people are feeling right now? Exhumed? I'm glad you commented. I'm sorry I missed your comments. Exhumed says, glad I'm not dead. Gotta go. Have a good weekend. Well, you too. Have a very good weekend, Exhumed. I am scrolling through J.K. Rowling's Twitter feed to see if I can find something other than children's drawings of the stories she's writing. J.K. Rowling retweeted a Star Wars tweet saying, "We stand with and support you, John Boyega." Well, here's the thing. I said this in a video that got released today, saying I don't think I can stand for, or I don't think I can stand for racial inequality when I'm part of a group that's protesting, or that's been protesting against inequality since before I was born. And here's the thing. J.K. Rowling retweeted a Black Lives Matter tweet with the LGBT issue. They've been protesting against inequality since before I was born. In a way, if you're with the Black Lives Matter movement, in a way, you're also with the protests against inequality against the LGBT community. At least that's the way I see it. Because here's the thing that I'm saying. Both the Black Lives Matter movement and the LGBT rights movement started with protests. Protests. And here's the thing. If people are protesting against a certain issue, that means there's something wrong with the system. So if you want to see the video where I talk about that in detail, I did just share the link. So make sure you go check that out. I honestly don't see why this is still an issue. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to end the stream here. If you made it this far, give me a like, subscribe if you haven't, hit that bell notification, all that stuff. I would really appreciate it.